you said make your choice and then gave me like half a second.
Sure
But like
did.
we are both
Mhm.
friends with these people on like actual social media. So like
What a way to just end.
sometimes
Amazing.
you hyperfixate on something.
Mhm.
Ain't
And
that
then
the truth?
sometimes you friend those people on Facebook. And sometimes
Yeah.
they accept.
I
And then you just have conversations with them for like 3 or 4 years and then and that's it.
That's it.
And then you just suddenly stop talking. Because we all grow older, I guess. I wonder how they're doing. I should message them.
Life is like a slender man.
I wish it was.
Elsie, we don't have time to unpack all of that.
Sure don't.
If you know me, you've already had all the time you need to unpack all that.
That's fair and valid and true. These are the vibes we're bringing into the studio tonight. So tonight is going to
perfect.
be a time. So with that, I guess I get to now bring us in and actually like wrangle us instead of 10 to 15 to 20 minutes going by. And I am proud of us for this.
Look at us being professional as fuck.
I mean, we could just unhinge that right now and throw that right off the tracks.
We sure could.
You better
William,
get us
no.
while we're ahead.
William, absolutely not.
What? We just got here.
Put my number in the chat. Look,
Yeah.
you're not even. Once again, Will, you're not even hitting the important parts of the Slender Man stuff. So, like, I'm not even going to get into that.
If you're 9 feet tall and have no face, call me because I want you on my basketball team. Be a monster on and off the court.
And we appreciate you keeping it appropriate, Will. We appreciate that. We appreciate that from you too, Elsie.
Will's just a coward, actually.
I am not responsible for whatever happens after you said that, Elsie. Whatever Will chooses to do is on him. But with that, I am going to get us started. So if you have never caught us before, this is actually pretty usual and even a little tame. I was going to say this is a little more unhinged, but it's really not. Like, we're
We can
on our
always be
best
worse.
behavior.
No, my teacup intros are definitely more unhinged than this.
Absolutely.
Like 9 times out of 10.
I know that, and I love you. And, you know, I invite you to get as unhinged as you want as we proceed through tonight. But I'm sure we're going to have a perfectly hinged time, especially because of our storyteller and the players at the table, because I know all of them. But before we get to playing, as I said, we are live from the apocalypse. We are a not-for-profit TTRPG studio that raises money for aid organizations and good causes. We have been raising money for medical aid for Palestinians for a good chunk of time, as that has been a very needed cause to support. But tonight, we are taking a brief hiatus from that, joining with some of our friends over with Guild Superior and several other channels who have been spending the last 8 days streaming for justice and supporting the ACLU. As of last check, which was admittedly 20 minutes ago, and I believe we have 2 other games going on right now, we were at $760 out of $1,000 that we are aiming to raise. So we are almost there with 24 hours left. And so we ask that during the stream, if you're able, at any point, you can type in !donate, and the link to the Tiltify that we are using to fundraise for the ACLU will pop right up there. There is, of course, no expectation, but we do ask if you're not able to donate that you signal boost, help out, maybe join some of the other games, you know, join them for their streams, and just make sure that you're putting this out on social media as we head into the end of this. The ACLU is doing incredibly, incredibly important and critical work, fighting back against tyranny and fascism, and we very much want to support them and all of their efforts in that. With that, I am now going to toss this over to Rose so that they can decide how they want us to do our introductions for our characters and kick us off as we move into Criticality.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for the intro. So hi everyone. My name is Rose. I use they, she pronouns, and I um a do a little bit over on LFTA, and I'm very happy to run this Kids on Bikes one shot. This is going to be a haunted house story, taking our adventurers through this house as they try to unlock some of the mysteries and things ramp up, and more things reach critical mass. So we'll see what all those vague words mean in the next few hours. A few of the warnings is that there will be aspects of unreality. There will be some, as it is a horror game, there will be moments of tension, some moments of potentially some uh, frightening situation. So, as always, if that's not for you, please feel free to check out some of the other games or the other streams that we're going to do. But if that is your thing, please come along on hopefully a little spooky ghost story. I will say that, yeah, that's, I think, everything we need before I take us through the actual game. But I'd love to toss it to my fabulous players. I'm going to give JD a little bit of a breathing break. So I'm going to toss it over to my good friend Kian to give their introduction.
Hello. I was trying to donate, so I got distracted. Hello, everybody. My name
Hell
is
yeah.
Kian. My pronouns are any and all because gender is not real. What do you want from me, Rose?
I want your name. I want your character, and give me your archetype, or at least for you, whatever your job is. I think you said your
I did.
background. So
Okay. I am playing Nora Paraiso, who has worked in construction pretty much as long as is possible for a young adult. So
and
that's me.
also their pronouns.
Any and all. I didn't think about that.
Hell yeah. This is good for me as well, so I know how to address them. So give me your character name, your character pronouns, and what your character does. And then also your name and pronouns. But perfect. Thank you. I'm going to toss that over to LC now.
I was trying to get my parents to donate and my yaya, so thanks for catching me off guard.
You're
Hi,
welcome.
fuck you. Hi, I'm LC. I use she, they pronouns. I'm optimistic on all social media. I am playing Sadie tonight. I forgot her last name because I keep wanting to say Sadie Sink, but that is Max on Stranger Things. And they also use she, they pronouns. And what I also forgot what I'm supposed to say. My archetype, I'm a paranormal investigator.
Hell yeah. And judging by the Chiron, I believe it is Sadie Stokes.
That sounds right. Yeah, because Stokes was my biology professor, one of them.
Hell yeah. And it's good alliteration.
Always with me.
Mm-hmm. Passing along to Mac.
Hi, my name's Mac. I use he, they pronouns. My character also uses he, they pronouns. His name is Felix Wilson. He is the Stoic Professional Playbook, but he is a nuclear scientist. And at the Mac Henning for social media.
Hell yeah. Stephanie.
Hi, I'm Stephanie. Tonight I'll be playing Daphne Moreau, she, her, same as my pronouns, she, her. She is the artist. She's also goth, and I'm basing that off of the Plastic Beauty playbook. So we're going to have a fun time with the ghosts.
It's going to be great. They're
Some
going to
of them
love
normal. Yay.
And last but not least, JD. I almost said last but not least. I don't know what that means.
This is where we're at tonight, and I love that for us. Hi, I am JD. My pronouns are he, they. I am playing Dylan White. Pronouns also he, they. He is an Urbex enthusiast. And, I didn't ask you this earlier, Rose, but, since we are using the adult playbooks, can my specialty be crime?
Yeah, for sure.
Cool. My specialty is crime.
To the surprise of no
see.
one.
What kind of crime, though?
Crime with
Crime.
Find
C.
out in RP? Like,
Crime with a capital C.
When you say it though, it's like no,
If it's
no.
illegal, you're good at it. I don't know.
Rude.
That's a
Will,
lot
fuck you,
rude.
Will.
Very rude.
Listen, we're gonna
Was that
find out in RP.
crying or-
Was that crying or crime? I don't know. Let's find out.
skilled at crying and crime, specifically crying while you do a crime. It's yeah, I think that makes sense. All right. The vibes are loose, the vibes are good, and I am not going to bring those vibes down because I think this will be a fun little ghost story. I want you guys to have fun. If you guys have any questions, feel free to just let me know. But with that all being said, I'm going to bring us into our introduction and bring us to Criticality. So I am going to take us all to a world that is much like ours, with a history much like ours. Um, in this world, there is a man named Chester O'Connor. And Chester grew up in the Londonderry township of Pennsylvania in the 1960s. This was a small town that he was able to really come to his roots as a musician, and he loved his childhood home so much that he went back to record a demo tape. Chester O'Connor was a musician, specifically a punk musician, right on the verge of huge success and a huge record deal. And this was supposed to be his demo tape. The reason that this is so legendary is that no one has ever heard of it, because unfortunately, the 3 Mile Island disaster happened. For those who aren't aware, the 3 Mile Island meltdown was a radioactive, a nuclear facility that got close to critical meltdown, and everything had to be evacuated. So, despite all of that, Chester's demo was lost, but still whispered about on the cassette trading sphere, and specifically whispered about in even some of the paranormal spaces. People would say that his ghostly presence was still there trying to create the perfect record. Others say that these are just the delusions of people who wander into a radioactive site and come back thinking that they have seen something that isn't actually there. Regardless, this abandoned home has garnered some legend. And 1942 Manhattan Way is where we find a group of people all brought at the same time, all coming to this same home. Um, and I will give you the exact date because in my notes, I had it. It was April 26, 1986. That is our current date and our current time. All of you are there for different reasons, but one of you are specifically at 1942 Manhattan Way because you were ordered there. Felix, your work as a nuclear scientist has brought you investigating all over the country, different radioactive sites, places where you're going to investigate to see whether it is safe for people to come in, whether the effects of nuclear radiation on the plant's animal life. You have been all over the place, but this is the strangest mission that you've been on, the strangest request, because one of the aspects of 1942 Manhattan Way is that while there is a low amount of radiation still around the Londonderry township, there is an area that has been rumored to not have any amount. This home specifically doesn't have any trace. Around it, if you step outside of essentially its address, you can start to feel the effects if you're there too long. But you step in, people have said that Geiger counters go completely silent. And that if you're able to reclaim some pieces of evidence that can prove that for some reason this house is immune to the effects of nuclear radiation, you may have not just the Nobel Prize in your pocket, but a way to benefit so many people. So I wonder what your initial thoughts are on the idea that in the middle of, well, not a nuclear wasteland, uh, that there would be just this random pocket of no radioactivity.
It honestly makes no sense to him. He's very, very much a realist when it comes to how the world works, and he thinks it's bullshit. He
Yeah.
doesn't think it's actually real, but he's interested to figure it out.
How do you show up to the Londonderry Township? Like, are you like in full radioactive gear? Like, are you like,
Absolutely.
okay?
Yeah, no, he's geared. He's got his Geiger counter. He's got his giant lead box to take any evidence that supposedly doesn't have radiation out of
Hmm.
here, so it doesn't get any traces of radiation if it supposedly doesn't have any already. Um, yeah, he is fully geared up. He is not taking any chances of getting irradiated.
I love that. Because you're so prepared and ready, I'm going to give you +3 to any grit checks that especially involve any radiation or anything that's like sickness and things like that. So,
Awesome.
way to be prepared.
Why would that be necessary though, Rose? Like you said, there's no radiation here,
Yeah.
so like, why would we need to do those
I
checks?
feel
Yeah,
like
so
that's OP.
why would you need that?
That's
Exactly.
OP.
Well, then you'll be completely fine. Which is where we turn to the rest of you all, because there are many different reasons to have come to this house. It's been haunted. It's a very legendary site to explore. So I'm going to actually go around because Felix, I imagine you're there first. Um, who all is going to be coming second? And we can roll for this if there's not anyone jumping to go. But I'm curious who shows up next.
I think, in contrary to Felix's preparedness, it would be kind of funny for Nora to show up next
Yeah.
because Nora is a punk on the run. And so Nora kind of stumbles into, oh, look, this is just a fucking abandoned house. No one's going
Mhm.
to follow me into this radioactive area. It's totally going to be fine. Um,
Yes.
so I think Nora comes crashing through the front door, quite literally running through the front door. Uh, Depending on how close Felix is, crashes into Felix as well if they have not moved away.
For funsies, Mac, make me a flight check.
Absolutely.
Gonna say difficulty 5.
I literally can't make it.
Fun thing about kids on bikes is that if you critically succeed, hit the maximum value of the dice, it explodes. Unfortunately, you rolled a 1 and you don't. So Felix, you are putting all of your things away, organized. It looks immaculate. You're ready to really set up shop. And before you can even pull the Geiger counter out to even prove that this is safe, um, Nora, could you describe yourself?
Yeah, Nora is a Filipino femme appearing person. Pink hair, buzzed on one side, wears a spiked collar, denim jacket, kind of torn to shit, as they usually are, and a black turtleneck and glasses, and has hearing aids and lots of piercings on the face.
I love that.
So hot is what I'm hearing.
Hot as fuck.
That was the goal. That was the goal.
Make me a brawn check.
Ooh, that's my best stat. 14.
Amazing. So you are able to just completely barrel through this door, but as soon as you recognize there's someone else here that you have barreled into, there's not actually going to be that much damage to any of the equipment or anything because you're physically capable enough in your body to essentially wrangle up this twink, despite all of his gear. And yeah, Felix, you are at one point very prepared for this job, and now there is someone who Kian just described barreling through the door.
And for the record, I mentioned Nora has worked in construction, so Nora is quite beefy, can quite literally scoop Felix off the ground.
Yeah, Felix is 6'2", but he is scrawny as fuck. He is exactly what you would expect from like a nerdy guy, like a stereotypical nerdy scrawny guy. So yeah, you knock him the fuck over, and he's literally like, who the what? What is wrong with you?
Hey, hi. Can you keep a secret?
The fuck is wrong with? Who are you?
I just need to know, can you keep a secret? Because if you can't, I can't stay here.
Sure, I guess.
Great. I've never been here in my life. I've never been here in my life. That's all that you need to
That's
know.
probably a good thing because it's not safe to be here.
Oh,
Thus the equipment.
is it like I mean, it looked a little condemned on the outside, but like, is this a like
You know,
safety issue? Like structure starts to fall and shit?
do
At
you
this
not know where you are?
Haven't any clue.
at this time, I picture another of the party arriving. The door has been completely barreled through and is swaying on one hinge. Um, and I am curious who wishes to enter next. If no one answers, you're rolling your flight.
I can go next.
Please.
So Daphne is kind of well, she's very much she's just average height. She's kind of got some curves, and she's decked out all in black. She's got her black jeans, black boots that go knee high, and she has this like a dark purple tank top under the off shoulder black sweater she's wearing, and her backpack, and she's just kind of taking some photos on the perimeter before when she notices that like front doors, oh, there's a commotion. That's interesting. And she just kind of slowly peeks her head around the door frame to just kind of get a sense of what the fuck is going on. Just before she says anything, she's kind of just, what is this?
I'm curious if either of you all noticed that. I would probably say Felix, you would be able to actually not need a roll, would see a now third person at the abandoned home that was supposed to be deserted for the past 20 years. This person seems even less in place.
This is not safe. Why are there so many people here? Hi, who are you?
I'm Daphne. Hi, I thought this place was empty.
It should be.
Interesting.
Radiation. Do you guys not understand?
I was gonna be quick, but there are people here.
Yeah, I'm supposed to be here. You guys aren't.
I figured that was what was with the whole like sandwich wrap you have going on.
This is keeping me from getting radiation poisoning, which is something the two of you should be worried about.
I mean, I guess if we keep talking in circles, it's probably going to get me contaminated more than, is necessary. So I was just going to scope it out. I'm just taking photos. I won't be long. Do you own this house?
Nobody owns this house. It's do whatever you're going to do. I am not responsible for you being.
You're not with him, I take it, because you don't have the sandwich wrap.
No, definitely not. Definitely not.
At
Ooh.
the mention specifically of no one owns this house. A must have been a gust of wind, but you hear a door slam just in the farther back to the second, um what do you call it? First floor, second floor. So farther away from where you stand in the front entrance.
Christ, is someone else here?
But I would love for after that our next person to make a scene. Yes, go for it.
I think that's perfect because what we see of Dylan is a figure wearing all black, black jeans, a black sweatshirt, not actually a sweatshirt, more just of a long sleeved shirt, and a beanie covering his hair. And they come running up to one of these side entrances. And instead of going through anything on the front floor, doors, windows, they're going up through one of the upstairs windows.
I'm sorry. So they are coming up into the house from the window. Okay.
Climbing up to the second floor.
Amazing. Okay. You all hear this commotion and you are more than welcome to go investigate, but I am actually going to ask you, JD, make me it can be a flight or a brawn roll, or you can convince me of what it should be, but those are my two to see how successfully you scramble up.
Yeah. No, I'll take Braun.
Yeah.
That is an 8.
Okay. You are able to successfully climb up, but everyone can hear, and it doesn't sound exactly like you're stealthy with it. It more sounds like a raccoon getting into like a metal trash can, and a Converse is scraping against a door as it tries to find a foothold, and it knocks off some of the thing, but you're able to tumble in. Nailed it. At least no one is here to have heard how messy that sounded. So it's good.
Except what if there was?
Except what if there were 3 people currently in the home? Or
Or one person in the room?
so
Incredible.
I believe then that so Dylan stumbles into the room and sees who?
Sadie, already there. Just kind of chilling there. I assume it'd be like, in my head, I picture like a bedroom.
Mhm.
And it's just kind of like not lounging on the like lounging out, but like just casually sitting on the bed, just kind of like clicking their heels. They wear like, like worn Converse, crew socks, like baseball shorts and a really worn old t-shirt, with a backwards baseball cap. And they're just kind of like watching this happen, not in a mocking way, but like I already knew this was gonna happen kind of way. And just like, yep, first time. Window, I imagine, also was already open for you, but I'm assuming you didn't question that.
Absolutely not. Clearly someone just left it open. Yeah, I think like Dylan comes out of like a roll that looked a whole lot more graceful in his head than it actually was, and then locks eyes with you and doesn't really freeze but pauses and then just says, "Hey, what's up?"
Nothing? What's up here? Yeah. Not you. You're on the ground. But
Come here often?
first time, actually. Do you come here
Yeah.
often? Yeah?
No, no.
No?
This is my first time
No.
too.
Oh, okay, okay.
Felix, Nora, Daphne, you hear 2 additional voices coming from the upstairs.
More people here, I guess.
What the fuck?
Felix, you would be likely the only one to have an actual layout of the entire place, but anyone who actually is familiar with the Chester's home would know that there are two main floors. The first floor that you enter with the front entrance, that includes a family sitting area as well as a kitchen. Further back, there's a set of stairs that lead to the second floor where the actual bedrooms are, and it's 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom. Uh, Additionally, there is supposedly an attic as well as a basement. But that is the entire layout that Felix would have.
There are people upstairs. I thought I checked up. Okay. You people stay here, I guess. And he's gonna go upstairs to figure out what the fuck is going on up there.
Nora does not listen. Nora follows.
Of course. Yeah.
Daphne, do you follow as well, or do
Yeah,
you
if they're
stay?
snapping some, scenic photos of the room and area, then I follow, yeah.
What type of camera do you have?
Well, it's the 80s, so not digital, but she is an art student, so it's probably like fancier than a normal family camera. Since she does like photography and drawing / painting.
So the Polaroid camera was around in 1948. And so if you are interested in it being a Polaroid, I think that would make
It can be
sense.
Polaroid. Why not have the instant photos out?
Yeah.
Fun.
Roll me your charm. We're going to call that as like your art roll to see how good the photos are.
Hell yeah. That's 12.
Cool. Yeah, you take some really quality photos that look very interesting. The one bit of confusion is that despite the lighting looking pretty okay, there does seem to be some, like, maybe it's flares or some types of weird lights around a door in the kitchen. Um, you can roll me a brains if you want to analyze it, but you would notice just some strangeness in the photos of the kitchen.
Yeah, I'll do a brains.
Yeah.
It's an 8 on my D8.
Okay.
Yep. Just
8.
straight.
Is that the maximum value of your dice?
It is. Oh, it explodes.
It explodes.
And that's a 6. So that's a 14.
Amazing. On a 14 and with your lucky break, you're able to tell, especially with your eye for design, this is not a natural light. There's no reflection where it comes off of, no flare that it could have been. It's as if a perfectly circular few bits are surrounding this door, almost highlighting in a sense. But that is strange. Those lights should not be there in your photograph.
Sick. Okay. Well, this is definitely an anomaly. I think she's just gonna kind of approach the doorway and then just take a photo of the room first before, anyone else has the opportunity to get through it and disrupt everything.
Okay. So you take a photo of the kitchen.
Yeah.
Cool. I would like you to take a photo and without actually any roll, because something fun's gonna happen.
Yay!
You look as the of the Polaroid snaps out, and you look at it and wait for the picture to resolve. And as it slowly comes into focus, it doesn't look quite like you'd picture it. And you're going to have to roll a grit check as soon as we come back to you.
Okay. That's my worst stat. This is gonna be fun.
It is going to be fun. So, Felix, you run up the stairs along with Nora to check out the noise, and you run into Sadie, and Dylan. Good. I'm glad to hear it.
What are you doing? Why are there so many people here? This is not good. You know that this whole island's irradiated, right? Like, you know that there's...
Yeah. Yeah, no, I totally know that. That's why I'm here.
Do you know what
Specifically?
radiation does to your body? Because I'm a little concerned that you don't.
It'll be fine. I've been told if you don't stay here too long, it's totally cool. It's totally chill. It's not a
That
problem.
that seems to be what several of you think, despite every shred of evidence to the contrary.
I know that Peter Parker got bit by a radiated spider and then got superpowers, so
Peter Parker's a
Also,
comic book character. He's not real.
also, I thought radiation was something that you like breathed in. Like if we just kind of like hold our breath, it's.
how long can you hold your breath for, though?
I mean,
You haven't been holding your breath, if you were even going by that idiotic logic.
Hey, that's not nice.
Yeah, and you guys are not supposed to be here.
So define supposed to be here, actually, though.
Yeah. Because you don't look like a cop.
I'm not
If you are a cop, you like legally have to tell us you're a cop, though.
literally not true, but also
That
no, I'm not a cop.
that's what a cop would say, actually.
No, that's what anyone who actually... Never mind. I'm not even gonna... I'm here to investigate this house because of radiation. It is what I do for a living. You people should not be here.
Okay, but like, have you considered that we are here?
Yes, and I'm trying to get you to understand that you are literally killing yourselves by being here.
Daphne, roll that grit check for me real quick.
Timing. Yeah, sure.
Don't forget to add +1 because you're an adult.
Oh, yeah, thank you. That's a 2.
You know what?
Amazing.
I understand.
I am going to say this. I'm going to narrate what you see. You can
Yeah.
tell me what you do, and I'll also remind you of the power that you have.
Oh, yeah. How many adversity tokens do we get?
You all start with 3. So
Yay.
you can use them wisely.
Mhm.
But you all have 3.
Bargaining chip. Hear me out.
And so you may use that. But when you look at the photograph, you expect to see a still image because that's what photographs do. Instead, what you see is the door to the basement
Mm.
and a shadowy figure gripping the door handle and trying to reach it open and trying to rip the door out of its handles. And it keeps pulling and pulling and pulling. The door doesn't budge. And this shadowy figure seems to be growing more and more frustrated. And the reason I had you roll a grit check is because at one point, the figure turns and looks at you.
I had a feeling it was going to happen. Is there a face or is it just all shadow?
All shadow, and it's quick to fully come at the photo. You can either scream or use an adversity token, but the entire photo quickly burns, gets hot, and turns to ash and disappears.
I'll save my token for now. I'll just scream because that is from light hauntings to suddenly fuck you, it's burning. That's a bit of a jump. So I'm gonna save the token and scream because holy fuck, what was that?
You all hear an ear-piercing scream from the first floor kitchen.
Jesus fucking Christ. He's gonna run back downstairs.
Do you three follow, or are you all chilling?
I think
I love the
Like, not our problem.
I feel like Felix like came in and was like, I have this party pooper vibe going on, and then bolted for that. I'm like, nah, he's got it covered.
yeah, the best person to go and save this other person has gone out of the room. So
It's true.
But we could go check it out too, but just not as fast.
Yeah, meander down the stairs.
Yeah, like safely. I mean, he was so concerned with safety, right? We should like be very careful going down the stairs.
How long
Slowly.
before Felix snaps in this house?
Really not long.
It's apparently not very long.
Not long at all.
As you're all moving through this house, I'm going to ask all of you to make a brain check to just see how observant you are. So, especially those kind of meandering through.
Including me, or?
I'm gonna hold on you because you're currently frightened.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
Yeah,
Rose,
catch.
this is my best stat.
Good.
I rolled a 6.
You're very occupied, and it's not everything in Kids on Bikes, especially how I roll, is in degrees of difficulty of 5s. So we got a 4, we got a 6.
So a 19 plus 1 because you're an adult is a 20.
Are
But
all
I
the
don't-
rolls +1 because you're an adult?
No, just grit and brains.
Thank you.
Correct, Rose? Sorry.
Correct.
Thank you.
I got a 5.
Cool. On the minimum difficulty, if you're below that, take an adversity token, actually. So, and Steph as well, you get an adversity token for failing. And Mac, you also get an adversity token for failing your flight check. So again, if you failed a roll today, please add that to your token pool. So with all of that being said, those of you who did not get a 5, not really, it seems like a shitty abandoned house that's been sitting empty for a couple decades. Those who scored above a 5, below a 10, you were able to notice some signs of decay that look more artificial, look like someone who's been living here in destitute, or maybe trying to root around, but less of a completely abandoned place. On a 20, Elsie, you hear your character hears snickering. And I believe that for a second you may think, oh, it's one of these weird people, but then the hair on the back of your neck raises, and you're immediately able to know, no, there is something here, someone here. That was a disembodied laugh.
That's normal.
That is also, unfortunately, pretty normal for your line of work.
Yeah.
You don't automatically see anyone, and with your powers you understand that you have to really kind of focus to uh really get into them, using the rules less of the Sixth Sense rules where all of the ghosts are always there, and more of the medium rules where you have to kind of focus on the thing. But you understand that this is not just some radiation poisoning. Either that or you're going completely delusional, but you feel pretty lucid. As lucid as you came in. As lucid as you normally do.
That's a debatable statement. How lucid is lucid for her? Okay, cool. Where is the direction of the snickering
It
specifically?
yeah, it leads up to where there is a drawstring attic, that one's where the stairway comes down.
Mhm.
It tends to be going up that direction.
Absolutely go towards it.
Mhm.
So, like,
Okay.
that's, like, on the floor I was on?
On the floor you were on. So if you were on the
Okay, so
second
just turn
floor,
around
it
and go
is
right back up the stairs. I'm not gonna say a damn word to anyone else also going down the stairs, just literally turns and goes right back up the stairs without a word, like it's the most normal thing towards what she heard, uh, away from the scream.
cool.
Dylan stops when he realizes that and just turns to look over their shoulder and asks, "Did you forget something up there?"
No, something's up there.
He's following,
Yeah,
asking things like, what do you mean something's up there?
someone was laughing.
Someone was There's another person in this house?
Yeah.
And you're gonna go find them alone?
I mean, I found you alone, right?
Yeah, no, that's true.
Yeah.
You want some company?
You can come along, I don't care.
Nice.
Famous last words. Nice. Um, uh, Nora, I will offer to you. Do you go with those two, or do you follow Felix downstairs?
I'm gonna follow Felix.
Awesome. Then, Sadie, you hear the snickering continues as you walk further down the hallway, but we'll return to you after Felix and Nora. You catch up and you see Daphne uh, looking rather frightened, and in front of her is a pile of ash that is beginning to uh, just dissipate and float away.
Uh,
Are you burning things in here? What is?
I didn't burn anything. My Polaroids apparently combusted.
It did what now?
It combusted. It was also moving. I'm not on drugs.
I don't know that I believe that considering everything that's going on in this house, but okay. He's gonna get his Geiger counter out and start actually like looking around with it.
Cool.
He's concerned.
The basement door's locked?
The basement door is locked.
Hmm.
It is. You pull out the Geiger counter, and if there are some nuclear scientists in the chat, I'm sorry, because I might be completely doing this wrong. But as I understand, it is a crackly machine that whirls and whizzes when there's more detectable radiation. And if it's softer and humming lower, then there is less active radiation in the area. So you pull out this Geiger counter and expect it to say to just to come on and to hear the mechanical fuzz of the machine whirring. And you turn it on and it is silent. And you try to figure it out and you look back, make sure everything is put in okay, and it starts to rattle to the point where you know it's on,
So
but it
it's
is
catching that standard like tiny amount of radiation that exists everywhere.
everywhere. But it is truly the smallest you've ever heard, to the point where you've been in clean areas, but this is just the barest of fuzz, to the point where the static could just be white noise, and you keep listening for any amount of a blip that would make sense, anything that is putting out any amount of radiation, and you are focused, and that's when you hear a thwapam of the door to the basement
Mm.
trying to come open.
No, he's at that again. Okay.
He
Well, a shadow.
Thwapam.
She, they. It's a shadowy figure. It was in the photo. We're trying to get into the basement again. Not on drugs, as you can now see.
Thwapam,
I'm
thwapam,
not doing
thwapam.
that.
I mean, there's a million people in this fucking house for some reason. So But and he's like looking at the screen of his Geiger counter and is like very much like,
So is it a good thing or a bad thing that that's not doing anything?
it's weird. It should be making lots of noise. There's very little radiation here, like less
Oh,
than a normal amount of radiation. What is going on with that door?
he wants to get it open. This house is haunted, but I don't look. My idea of hauntings was like the fast escalations are usually fictional. In real life, it's supposed to be like slow increments. This is not a slow increment. It's not normal for. Anyway,
The door seems to have calmed down and has stopped being uh wrecked open.
you could use your words if you have any, or write something down.
Roll me a charm roll.
Come on, best stat. Yeah, that's a 7. Still a little rattled.
It takes a moment and you can still hear the fuzz from the Geiger counter. But then it goes completely silent. And as the Geiger counter stops making any sound, despite the red light still being on, you hear the door slowly creak open.
Oh, that's great.
The basement is pitch black. And before you decide to move on or take a picture, which is very smart, do you actually, before we move on, do you take a picture?
I'm just gonna snap a photo and see if it burns. At least this time she'll have a witness since Nora's here.
Is the flash on?
Probably. It's dark inside, right?
It
Yeah.
is.
Flash is on.
Cool.
Yay.
The flash illuminates very briefly a what looks like a bunch of different machines, and you're quick to recognize looks almost like a recording studio. And when you look at the photo, you see a few more of those bits of energy that are floating down deeper into the basement. Um, but before you can go down, I'm going to zoom back to our other two that are walking down a hallway following some disembodied laughter. You two are actually, I'd like you both to roll me a brains check. 3.
13.
Cool. So I will say, I think this makes sense. Dylan, you are walking and just catching up, having some pleasant conversation with this new person, maybe sharing some personal details. Obviously, not like whole stories, but the stories that you're comfortable sharing, the ones that we all have for meeting a new person. Um, and it just seems like normal chit chat. And Sadie, with your 13, you are quickly able to notice that this hallway keeps on extending, and you are walking and walking and walking and not moving any closer to the attic's drawstring. So I'm curious how long you stay on this path before you decide, or do you just see how long it goes?
I think with her experience with the Great Beyond, She would continue on as if it's normal,
Hmm.
but very blatantly as if it's the most normal thing, a conversation, as if she were talking um to Dylan. Just say, "It's not funny, you know."
No, it was fucking hilarious.
Not you.
Oh, I thought you didn't like it, when I was telling you about leading the cops on that chase and how they fell in the abandoned pool and all of that shit. Okay.
What?
Take an adversity token. That was funny. DM inspiration. That was great.
So okay, you weren't talking to me. Who were you talking to?
The person who's laughing? Who we're following? Do you not realize how long we've been walking?
And he like pauses and then looks ahead at the direction we've been going in and
You
then looks behind.
have not moved an inch. You can feel your uh ankles be a little sore with use and your calves be almost sore, but you haven't moved an inch.
Have you never done
Okay.
this before?
Not like this.
Hmm.
No. Have
I
have
should have
you?
known that. Yeah, but I should have known you haven't by the way you crawled through that window. Um,
What does that have to do with like supernatural shit going on?
Bet
I,
you're new to it? Duh.
I'm not
I,
new to climbing through windows.
Could have fooled me.
there's another laugh, and this time it's not just Sadie who hears it. This time Dylan does as well. It's coming from the attic that you have been probably for the past 13 to 15 minutes been trying to walk to.
How far is it away now? Like approximate. I know we haven't moved, but like how far is it from where we are?
I would say it is about 15 feet away. So if or thinking of a hallway, you're at the middle portion halfway between where the stairs would go downstairs to where the actual drawstring is. So I'm picturing that probably between 10 to 15 feet.
Sadie will put her hands on her hips and just be like, "Okay, so if you're playing games, what game are we playing and what are the rules?"
Roll me a charm roll.
I think that's my D10.
10 or
Yeah,
12. Yeah.
yeah. Ooh, give me like 2 seconds to find one.
Take your time.
Okay. That's a 10.
On a
No,
D10
wait. No, that'd be a 1 because the 1 0 on a percentile is a
is a
yeah,
yeah, it
it's
would
a
be a
1.
0 there. So
It's a
that is
big
1.
yeah.
Um okay. On a 1.
Wait, can I roll this back and use an adversity token for intuitive?
I will give you you can definitely use intuitive.
Okay.
What are you trying to roll back?
Roll back what I'm asking, like have this question that I am posing as my intuitive roll to spend an adversity token instead of rolling a charm roll to tell me a detail about my surroundings, NPC or the like.
Definitely spend the token so you'll get the information regardless. I'm going to keep the charm roll not
Fair
as
enough.
a like
Yeah.
you'll get the information, but this is just more a thing.
Is it a
So
fail?
It is. I got caught in my own rule. So
You
yes, it would
did.
be a fail, but you can use the token for intuitive. So
Free.
that is how the system would go. So, what is your question specifically for intuitive?
If this is a game, what are the rules? So, what are the rules?
On your intuitive, I think what you see is you would see someone float down, cross their arms in front of their chest, put their tongue into their cheek, and a little snottily just say, "Follow the leader," and point downstairs before dissipating and almost sinking into the floor.
They will absolutely like roll their eyes and just be like, we're calling them a leader. Are you kidding me? And then turn right back around right next to Dylan and just walk the other way. I'm pretty sure that she expects at this point that Dylan will just follow wherever they go.
I mean, he does, but like definitely stops once again, just kind of like, what is happening? Oh, you know what? Whatever, fine.
Okay, so there are ghosts in this house, just like there are ghosts everywhere that you walk because this earth has been around for like a billion years or something like that. And people die all the time everywhere that you go, and they just leave remnants of themselves. And sometimes they hang around and talk to you. But I get that not everyone is as talented as me. So there's a ghost here who told me to follow the leader. Unfortunately, I think they're referring to that dude who was like the buzzkill who was probably a cop, and they're downstairs. So we're going back downstairs now.
Why did the ghost want us to follow a cop?
I can't give you another adversity token for that, but in my heart, that's going on my quote
But
board.
consider you could. Why can't you? What
Because
rule?
I'm a bitch. Rule of being a bitch.
Can't
Um,
argue with that. Um, Going down the stairs though to follow the cop,
you
I
go
could
down.
not tell you why the ghost wants us to do that. And I wish ACAB were a phrase in the 80s, but it's not. But if it were,
Absolutely.
Sadie would say, I guess this ghost just doesn't understand ACAB.
You all go downstairs and meet up with the rest of the party, who at this moment have just heard the creak of the door escape. And you look at the Polaroid and can see the two bits of light towards the deeper end of the studio. You'd have to go downstairs, hope there's some light, but otherwise, hope some of you brought a flashlight. Some
I have a flashlight.
with your flashlights in hand, especially thanks to your nuclear scientists and your Urbex explorers, and I'm sure most of you all have packed some sort of glow sticks or illumination things. It is your only source of light. You walk downstairs, and it is a sinking sort of blackness all around.
Baby.
A
Oh,
baby!
sweet baby. I heard her.
She has opinions.
Very loud opinions.
We enter the recording studio, and I'm curious to see if there's anything y'all are looking for or curious about, and then we can make some rolls, some brain rolls to see what you all find and what you all are exploring down in the basement.
So, Rose,
Yes.
I have treasure hunter.
I was hoping one of y'all might have that because I know we have a power, but we also have that special skill treasure hunter for an adversity token. You can give that to me and I will give you a useful item from around here. You want to
I will
spend that?
happily gift you an adversity token.
I take it. Delicious. And I like this a lot. You are used to looking at abandoned and decaying types of abandoned homes. So you know where people hide things, where people stash stuff. Um, there you are able to, throughout all of this wreckage of this recording studio, find what somehow have miraculously stayed here some of the contracts of Chester O'Connor. They detail a very lucrative music deal that would have set him and his family up for generations. They also sign away all rights, all creative licensures in perpetuity for this person. It is essentially a exploitive bet on setting someone up now, but then chaining for the rest of their career, all of their creative output going to this company. Might be a reason why Chester ended up blowing it all up, so to speak. You start to go through these papers and as you are reading the contract and outlining all of the different ways this is starting to paint a picture, there is another rumble from across the studio. If this is more where behind the recording glass where a producer would be sitting and where some documents would be had, this rumble actually comes from where the performers would be behind the glass and what looks to be um, an amp, a large four speaker amp that is just rumbling as if there's a mini earthquake happening right there. I'm curious if any of you all approach it, this rumbling sort of thing. I see some nods. Nora, or Nora, as you approach, I'd like you to make me a brawn check.
That's an 11.
Awesome. On an 11, as you start to approach this rattling amp, uh, it shoots forward. And if this were a normal person, it could easily crush them. But beating a difficulty of 10, you're able to put your shoulder in and fully be able to hold this thing down. And like two bowls just clashing horns, you're able to stand your ground and pivot your weight to push the amp to its side. When you do so, a compartment tumbles open. And as you all point your flashlights at whatever this thing is, you see a bony, skeletonized hand tumble from the amp. and just lay flat. You snap a photo. The Polaroid comes out and prints. You wait and you wait. And by the light of a glow stick and flashlights, you see the hand sitting there, but in the frame, there sits to be a person who looks to be at around late 20s, early 30s, full crust, wearing a flannel and a beat up band t shirt. They have their arms crossed, tongue in their cheek, and seem to be floating above this bony hand. And those of you who are into the scene would all recognize Chester O'Connor, or at least the last vision of Chester O'Connor that you had ever seen. And that's when you'd all hear some snickering as well. So I think this is a great time to take a break. I'm going to check on my cast, see how we're doing, feels good.
Yeah,
Feel
this
it's a
is
good
this
time
is
for a
so
break.
fine. This
I'm
is so
so
good.
glad.
Bonding over ghosts and body parts.
Yes.
We'd love to see it.
I'd love to also just shout out, thanks for the chat. We are at 905 on the ACLU fundraiser. So keep on doing that. We're so
Thank
close,
you.
less than $100 to go now. But we're all going to take our break, come back at the exciting conclusion of Criticality. Thank you so much, and we'll see you in a sec.
Woohoo!
And we are back. Where we were just left off was our heroes were exploring the basement of Chester O'Connor's family home in Londonderry Township in the 1980s. We have seen them explore this house, and currently they, after Daphne has taken a photo of a disembodied hand, a skeleton hand that has fallen out of an amp, we see a ghostly reflection of a young adult looking a little, I guess, punkish is the best way we could say. He's just a little bit of an edge to him, and he seems to float above this hand. And yeah, what do you all do as you baby as you all see yes, this ghostly reflection of a supposed to be dead Chester O'Connor?
So we only see it like in the Polaroid, or we like see it?
You will only see it in the Polaroid.
But could I spend a adversity token to
You
have them
may.
speak through me?
We can. We will absolutely use that special power. So, using your token, you are able to focus on your mediumship. And what does that look like when they go to focus?
I feel like it's the reverse of Ash Ketchum, which has not been invented yet because it's the 80s and not the 90s. And their hat was already turned backwards. So she turns it forward. She turns it forwards in the the reverse Pokemon, which does not exist style, and kind of tilts it forward and just like stands there for a moment like this. And that's really like it. to everybody else. But I feel like internally, there's this like conversation going on between, I guess, now Chester and Sadie of like, now you got to talk to him. I'm not, no, you have to. And then it's just like convincing the ghost to speak to the other people and giving them a reason to do it. And then being like, no, no, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. I promise. And then letting them use control of their body to speak through them and whatever bodily, like, not functions, but like that's the opposite. Whatever like way they are perceived when they were alive, their presentation is adapted through their body. But
Yeah.
it's still this like twiggy, tall-ish, weird ass straw like haired girl trying to pretend to be a rock star.
The mannerisms all change.
Yeah.
And you flip the hat around and lower the brim, and when you lift it up again, you are able to see Chester standing there, and what looks like is just a conversation for you. The rest of the party simply sees Sadie almost talking to themselves, but when you talk to Chester, you are talking to Sadie, who now has just they hold themselves. um they stand up and they stretch and they look almost larger than life, and then as soon as they have that deep exhale, they just slump back down and kind of wipe their nose as if they couldn't care less that they were here. And you see Sadie go, well, welcome to my crib. um Sorry, I haven't exactly kept the place up. You would not believe the prices for a cleaning service around here. Through the roof.
I think this is the first time that like Felix actually like takes like the hood down and like is breathing normal air because he needs a fucking cigarette.
Reasonable.
Just like
You take out the cigarette, and before you can light it, he goes, "Oh, I got you, man." And you see Sadie snap her fingers, and immediately the cigarette lights.
thank you.
You're welcome. Sadie, you all, when you see this, you see this ghost actually take out a lighter and flick it. So instead of you actually snapping of fingers. But after that, he says, "Yeah, you don't need any of that fancy stuff. There's no actual radiation. That's all taken care of."
How?
Well, it's a bit of a long story. We see Chester, who is piloting Sadie, sit up on a booth and uh, reaches for their own cigarette as if they would have one in their pockets, um, not finding any, looks, and then takes it. And um, Sadie, I'm very curious. Do you stop yourself from smoking?
Nah.
Hell yeah. So he lights it, takes a long drag, and goes, God, I miss that.
I do think that Sadie would not be a chronic smoker and the body would still react the same. So as
Got it.
much as Chester would want to take that long drag and have it react normally as if it was Chester's own body, it's very much a situation.
Fully, yeah, coughs, loses his cool, does not like suddenly like very much is Sadie coming back and coughing up a lung and goes, Oh, it's just as good as I remember it. Um, he taps out the cigarette and then says, "When I was working, I was always in my happy place. When I had a project I could focus on, and I knew that I could just get away from everything. That's where I truly shined." He looks around at the studio and he's proud. And he clearly, like, even though everything is ashy and scorched and trashed, there's graffiti and glass shattered everywhere. Um, and just illuminated by all of your flashlights, he still looks around and you can almost see in his eyes what it used to look like, with what looked like just trashed walls. You squint and can see your concert posters and photos, and some of the machinery bits have little tape decks and different little signs of life and actual evidence of someone who used to be here. And he says, I never wanted to leave, and that's why I didn't. But what I made was something that I poured my entire heart in. And when I found out that the record company was going to take it as theirs, they were going to take my master copy and change it. They wanted the last rights to it all, and I wouldn't let them. So I said I lost it when I really didn't. And he looks up at the attic. Now, they the guys down there, they got a little wise to what I was trying to do. And, well, I wasn't exactly keen on giving them what I had worked really hard on. So, what was a bit of a verbal misunderstanding turned into a physical altercation. And I ended up here. I don't know what happened to the my tape, but I've just been hanging out since. So, it if anything, it's probably still here, if I'm still here. He
It
shrugs.
probably is. They would have released it once you disappeared to get the extra notoriety cash on that.
They didn't really. Oh, thank God. Like, you see Sadie's shoulders slump in just full relaxation, just like, oh, that's better than the cigarette. Oh, that's better than coughing up the cigarette. Oh, thank baby Jesus.
Yeah, no, dude, everybody's been like speculating about it.
He looks happy and goes, if you if you could do me a favor, and as much as I enjoy going down memory lane, and he looks around almost nostalgically at his office and goes, I don't want anyone to take that. And if you see it, I need you to destroy it. You understand? Oh, you're muted, my friend.
Aha! Might help if I hit that button. You see like the most pained expression on Felix's face at that, of just like the idea of destroying that.
I know and he recognizes that pain, and there's a moment of recognition where he almost wishes he could as well. And he goes, "I had already signed it away. If that gets released, it's theirs, and I want it to be mine. It's better to be mine and gone than theirs and changed."
Those contracts tend to have time limits to them, though.
This contract is fucked. It's a bad one.
You found the contract?
Yeah.
Oh,
Shit.
cool.
And he goes and looks at it and goes, I was just a dumb kid and I signed something that I shouldn't have. And if you sign something, if you said you agreed to it and they can show you were of sound mind, it's hard to get any loopholes out. But, and he looks over at it and goes, at least it shows how shitty a deal it was and shines a little bit of light. Good find. And he nods, gives actually a fist bump. So you fist bump the ghost Sadie fist bump. Um, he looks around and shifts a little uncomfortably and goes, "The only problem with that is I'm not exactly alone here." And that's when there's another thump thump, but this time from the attic.
You didn't burn my photo?
I loved having my photo taken. When I was here and I was recording, we had that fight. He pushed me down the stairs, and that's how I ended up here, just tucked away. Something must have happened because he never found it, but there I was sure he was must have found something. He's
I'm sorry, really quick, because I think what is your hand fell out of that amp.
yeah, my favorite hand.
Hmm. Is the rest of you in the amp?
Bits of me are tucked away all over here, unfortunately.
Oh, this is on brand, honestly, but oh.
Yeah, but it's pretty metal, so I'm at least happy about that. I mean, real cleanup job. Anyway, shouldn't get too morbid about it. Um, Seems to be taking his death in stride, but as the attic continues to slam up, he goes, whatever it did must have made him really mad because he didn't get what he wanted. I keep the guy who fought me, he was a representative from the record company. As a lifelong punk music enjoyer, Felix, and knowing the situation that happened, you start to connect a few dots and start to at least, I think, put together that something went specifically wrong, at least when Chester was trying to record back when the 3 Mile Island incident happened. And it's very possible that that happened, this fight went down at potentially the same time as the critical meltdown at 3 Mile Island. Maybe Chester was dead for it, but a pissed off ghost.
So, like, get the idea that maybe the radiation might have been what killed the other guy, or
You're looking around, and especially with, if you remember, you had a brains roll that you succeeded earlier where things started to look kind of decayed, but someone was living there for a time. You think he may have lived there a long time.
I think that was Sadie. But
I thought you rolled a 6, but regardless, I'll say
oh
that
yeah, I think I did roll a 6 on that one. Yeah.
um, you start to notice that some of those cans looked a little bit fresher than some of the other ones. Some of the decay looked as if someone was rooting around for something a little bit more recently. And you start to wonder what it would look like if someone was actually trying to live in this abandoned home.
Yeah, to be clear, Sadie probably didn't get there much earlier than Dylan did. It's just she just happened to already be there when he was already trying to get through the window.
Yes.
I think Dylan kind of nudges Nora and asks, "So if there's a pissed off ghost here, do you think you could like fist fight a ghost?"
I think very seriously, Nora looks at Dylan and just says, I've never tried before, but probably.
Fuck yes, metal.
Let's go find out.
Let's go find out.
um,
Nora starts to move toward the stairs.
Chester just nods and goes, metal. um, uh, as you all make to leave, the ghost piloting Sadie looks around the room one more time nostalgically and thus says, good luck. If it makes you feel better, I really hope you destroy my legacy. Um, just know you'd be doing me a real fucking solid on that. And then um because Chester is nothing if not a performer, lowers the hat down and then dramatically flips it back. And Sadie returns to Sadie. It is quiet as everything returns to an eerie stillness. You all make for the attic.
Oh yeah.
Hell yeah, let's go punch a ghost in the face. You all make for the upstairs, and without the hindrance of Chester, you are all actually able to cross the hallway with ease. The attic is trembling slightly, the attic door, but whichever of you are the tallest, I believe Felix might be, are easily able to reach up and grab the drawstring as the dusty ladder comes down and tumbles to the floor. It is, of course, dark and musty looking up. But is there anything you do before you venture into the attic? I'm going to have Daphne roll a brains check.
Yeah. Okie dokie. That's fine. Okay. Okay. So that is a 6.
That's a 6. There's a part of you that might just be curious, but I'd ask, do you want to take a photo? You've got a couple of
Yeah, this is great inspiration for her project on the modern Gothic and Decay. So yeah, she's gonna be like, I can just hold my camera up through the attic and just take a photo blind if we want to get a sense of the fuckery that could be awaiting us up there.
You click and you hear the mechanical whir of the uh uh photo, and when you look at it as it begins to develop, you see a very dusty, wooden, decrepit uh attic. There are boxes that are lined with cobwebs and dust, and it is disheveled and disorganized. At the far end of the attic, there is a wooden box that has a little brass lock on it, and it looks like it has rusted and fallen and looks like it's been clawed at, chewed at even when you squint. And on the far end of the wall is an outline of a person. The outline is a shadowy ash, as if they were completely evaporated by a very powerful blast. And all that's left is this silhouette against the wall. You don't see any energy bubbles, and it doesn't immediately catch on fire. But there is a rumble from deeper inside the attic. Like as if something was stirring or disturbed.
So it might be waking up, so we might be losing the element of surprise. I don't know how much surprise goes into ghost fights.
Yeah, I don't know that we have surprise.
I mean, the chewed box looks potential, like it has potential. I guess this explains why there was no body.
Yep, that outline definitely, yep, that does explain that.
Karma's a bitch. So, does Nora want to go first since you're bringing the fisticuffs, or does someone else want to go first?
A marching order would be, I think, ideal here.
Somebody took my fighting abilities away, so
Shame.
Doesn't mean you can't try.
I think it'd be a little silly to try for telekinesis when you don't have it.
Oh.
You can just stick out your hand and believe.
That's just season 4 of Stranger Things.
So, who goes first?
I think Nora does.
Nora, you climb up the stairs, and as you try to climb the last step, it feels like the world comes out from under you. The last step fully breaks. Roll me a brawn check to catch yourself and hold on.
God, I hope you do, because I was going to say that Felix is probably right behind you.
Unfortunate for Felix, because that
Oh,
was a
no.
2.
Oh, no.
Adversity tokens do allow rerolls.
Not
No.
a reroll, you can
Plus-
add it. However, Kian, you do have a special power.
I do. I will go ahead and spend an adversity token to weather any blow.
So you feel the um, world come out from under you, and you can feel yourself falling. However, you're swole as fuck. Um, and as you would be falling straight down, you're actually able to stop yourself by just your arms being able to. I got very excited. You catch yourself on your arms and just stand there hanging, so anyone below would just see 2 feet come down. But Nora, you're able to push yourself back up, and just as if, you were working out your triceps, you are able to swing up and land gracefully at the top of the steps. Yes, everyone else will just have to watch out for that last step.
You hear Nora just from the attic. This is why you never skip arm day. And it's like like they're psyching themselves up, just like don't skip arm day.
Daphne from below. That was amazing. Oh my god.
Quick photo of just the feet
Through the
hanging
legs, yeah.
out. Hanging back. All right. We have Nora and Felix coming up. As everyone makes for the attic, you're all able to get a better idea of what this lockbox really looks like. If any of you have ever had um, like a music box where you open it and it does a little bit of like tinkling, this would sound very similar to that. This is something that would not be too large of a box, and you imagine that when you open it, it probably jingles a little bit of a sound. You all start to make for the center of the room, and the groaning and the rumbling gets a little bit louder. Do you all keep moving forward?
I would like to use my special ability to see if I can find something useful.
That is a great idea. Using
My
your
token.
keen eye, uh, you look around, and as I will say this, you notice a couple things, especially using your keen eye. The first is it's just out of your peripherals, so you're not even sure that it's real, but it is the quick flutter of a flannel. And as you turn your head, you're able to see one of the floorboards that is just slightly more used than all the others. You dig a finger into one of the holes to knock it loose, and you're able to see a very tiny, delicate looking bronze key. As you pocket that key, that's when those rumbles turn into an honest to goodness roar. I would like you to make a flight check for me.
Oh, great. I'm so good at this. I'm amazing at this. I almost rolled max. I rolled a 3.
All right. I will say you have adversity tokens you can use to bump it up.
I do. How many can you use? More than one?
You can. I would say 5 is what you would need to hit to avoid the maximum. So if you give me 2, we can make sure you don't completely beef it.
Yeah, I will use 2 tokens to get up to 5.
Perfect. You get this key and it feels good in your hands, and it must have just been again that keen eye, because at the last second you were able to see a large heavy box get thrown at you from where this lockbox music box is. You are just able to duck down as more boxes and things, metal pipe work from the ceiling and roof, begin to detach themselves and start swirling around the uh, room and centered around this lockbox. I would like everyone here to make either a flight check, a fight check, or a brawn check. If you would like to make a brains roll as well to try and smart your way out of it, I will allow it. The one roll I'm not going to probably allow is charm, because I don't think you can talk your way out of a box getting thrown at your face.
My face is too pretty. Don't hit my face.
That's a 19 for Nora.
Amazing. So, JD, remember some of your powers, by the way.
Trying to remember what my powers are.
Slippery.
That's right. I do sure have slippery. Thank you, Rose.
You're welcome, baby.
17.
19, 17, slippery.
11.
11,
9.
9. Okay.
I'll never roll high again in my life.
I will also remind you of adversity tokens if you want to bump yours up to 10 to get a higher level of success. You're more than welcome to, Steph. But if you'd like to keep the 9, that also
No,
works.
I'll use it. I have 4. I haven't used any yet. So, yep, we're going to bump that to 10.
Buenissimo.
I'm too pretty.
You are all able to navigate this labyrinth of boxes being thrown at you that is interrupting and blocking your path forward, but you're all able to, with slipping out of a extension cord that has wrapped itself around your ankle, to you see Nora fully just punching boxes left and right, taking a steel pipe gets thrown at their face and they grab it with one hand and use it like a baseball bat. We see Sadie ducking and weaving, like and being able to just as if they're calculating where these things are. Felix as well is just able to dodge and duck out of the way and keep out of sight. And we're able to see Daphne as well quickly being even able with her 10 now, taking photos and being able to capture the perfect shot. Felix, you have the key, and I think it makes sense then that you would be the person that is finally able to slot the key into the chest. As soon as you do, it clicks with a very satisfying click. It unlatches. And as you lift open the lid, everything begins to fall. The pipes, the boxes. It's as if everything just goes still. And a very delicate song begins to play. You're not able to picture it fully. It's an original song. The engraving on the music lid says, "To my daughter, to my heart, to everything I want this world to be." I picture the twinkling songs to sound almost like a December Morn from Anastasia. That I forget this what the song's called, but it's very
Once Upon a
light.
December.
Once Upon a December. Thank you. I picture it being like that. And so this twinkling, light, airy, ethereal music plays. And as soon as the song is over, it clicks and a hidden compartment shoots out, and there is a cassette tape that is hidden in this compartment. When you pick it up, it feels light and so fragile. It almost hums in your hands. What do you do?
I think he very carefully puts that in his pocket and kind of starts to scoot back away from like back towards the stairs. Felix has full intention, if possible, to have everyone back downstairs so that they can all listen to it before it gets destroyed. If at all possible. That is what he wants.
I'm going to give you an adversity token for that. I like that a lot. You go downstairs and you look through your various equipment and are able to actually find a tape recorder that you would use for notes and being able to record your field logs. um you slot it in, and you are all treated to a very raw and elegantly sounding cassette and an album that is clearly someone's passion project that they poured their entire soul into. It is songs that, for what he had been known for in the past of raging against different types of injustices and everything, there were also embodiments of love and change and different songs and stories that were clearly inspired not just from these struggles, but also from a care that he had found later on. And while I think it all leaves you feeling something different, as all good art should. Some of it is hopeful, some of it is inspired, some of it is feeling like you can do something else. Some of it is feeling like you found something you've lost. And some of it just makes you feel like you're home. But regardless, the tape eventually ends, and you all can feel an exhale, as if someone's like, yeah, I wrote a good one. You all can hear the hissing of the tape reaching its end. And there's just an ending note of thanks to everyone who listened, and to be ready for more to come soon. And that's where it ends, with a click.
I think Felix like very slowly like takes it out of the player and just kind of looks at it for a minute and looks at everybody else clearly does not want to destroy this, but he also knows that it needs to happen. Sets it down on the table, takes the butt of his flashlight, and just smashes it.
Wanna burn the strips for good measure?
Yeah, probably a good idea.
You hear the smack of the flashlight, and it's like a hammer hitting metal on an anvil. It cracks, and you pull out a match or lighter to light. The flames are originally orange and red and yellow that you would expect, but then quickly turn to green and blue and purple and these fantastic colors. Felix, you forgot that the Geiger counter was even still on, but as soon as the tape is broken, it starts to whir and come to life and crackle and then spike. You take some photos, Daphne, and as you all can actually feel radiation and the effects of this energy beginning to come out. There's a blinding white light. You are all standing in a place that you're not entirely sure. It's blinding and you don't feel in your body. And you look and you're not standing with 5 people, but you're actually standing with 6. And the punk who you had all known as Chester O'Connor is no longer crossing their arms, but looks relieved. Goes, "Thank you." And with a smirk and a snap, you all open your eyes and you are standing outside of the Londonderry city limits, far away from Chester O'Connor's house, much more in the safe zone. And you have all of your things, and you look around, and that feeling of sickness, of horror, of your body being turned inside out is completely gone. Felix, you have obviously a job to do and people to report to about this fantastic event that had just happened. And you, of all people, would actually have a cell phone, a work cell phone that you would be able to dial and actually call to give a status report. It's a big phone that you
Gonna say,
pull
so
out.
I've got like a briefcase phone.
Yes.
Just for the
Yeah.
phone, yeah.
It says 86, so that makes sense.
Yes. You call up your boss to tell them of the fantastic news that you found. And they put you on hold for a concerningly long time and eventually pick up the phone and say, "We've got a situation. I'm How have you not heard? Have you not Do you not know what's going on in the Ukraine right now?"
I've I've been on I've been in Londonderry. No, what?
There was a critical meltdown in a small town outside of Chernobyl. It's we need to you need to get here now.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes, sir.
Hangs up. And the mystery of what happened at Chester O'Connor's home gets filed away and lost to time. But none of you get radiation poisoning. And all of you are left with a feeling of being able to move on with whatever it is you want to do with the rest of your life. Now that you've been able to avoid criticality. That's it. That's the game.
Yay! Thought we were gonna have to make a mad flight check out of the fucking zone
I did
at the end.
too. I
I was like,
definitely
oh
did.
no, oh no.
Like as soon as the Geiger counter started going back off, I was very much like, he puts that hood back on and he's like, oh, let's go.
Just like, nah.
I truly I set the date of April 26, 1986 for a while, and I have been waiting for somebody to call me on my shit.
Not until you said Ukraine. I was like, oh fuck.
Yep.
No,
So thank you very much. I am going to I guess take us out. But you all did wonderful. Congratulations on exercising the ghost that was haunting this poor house. You all did wonderful. And congrats.
Yay.
It looks like also our ACLU update, we are at $940, so $60 away from the goal. There's still plenty of other streams to go, so y'all donate, and I think we can just go around, I guess. JD, do you want to take us off, or should we save you for last?
I think save me for last, which means I'll probably tag Kian in since they are right next to me.
That's what I was going to suggest. Hell yeah. Take us home.
Hello, everybody. My name is Kian. I use any and all pronouns. You can find me on Blue Sky at uptight-chiffon. This was an absolute delight, Rose. Thank you so much. This was so much fun. I have some projects coming up in May that I am really, really excited about. I've got two in particular, so definitely keep an eye out. I will announce things on social media as I am able to, but follow me on social media. That's where you will hear about stuff. Every other Tuesday, I'm over on Entropy Emporium with majority of this cast for They Call Us Villains, our Horror Masks actual play. I play a little lad who has no powers and has never done anything wrong a day in his life. And I love him, and we all know this, despite the expressions on the rest of the cast face. I think that's it for me. I think that's all that I have going on right now. So I will send it over to, I don't know who goes next because my face is
LC,
big.
I think.
Okay, I'll send it over to LC.
I don't know why. That's not all right. Whatever. There's no actual rhyme or reason to this. But anyways, hi, I'm LC. I play Sadie tonight, and I use she/they pronouns. I am optimistic on all social media. And where can you find me? As Kian already said, I am also in the cast of They Call Us Villains every other Tuesday. I that's about tomorrow actually there is a Star Wars finale over on Tales from the Table Studios. I have a bonus to all attacks to the Sith Lord dude. I am probably gonna beef it. I used all my good rolls tonight, and that's on that. And as far as They Call Us Villains goes, we'll see if I can get internet access to Brazil. And that's about it. That's just me, and I don't know, do I tag someone else in? Do I tag Steph in? I don't know.
I
Fucking
think
go,
Mac
Steph.
is next.
Oh, Mac
actually.
next? Okay, great. Mac, you go, not Steph.
Sure. So tonight I was Felix. This is my third stream ever. I'm not in anything else, so I don't have anything to plug. But you can find me on all social media at the Mackinine. I don't really post much aside from when I will be in games, so there's not much there. But yeah, it was awesome.
Hell yeah. Now we'll go to Steph.
I'm Steph. I've been Daphne. You can catch me on LFTA on Sunday when we do our special prologue of a season of Secrets and Shadows with our 8-person table chaos ball. Because what better way to deal with the messy relationships we've got going? Other than that, you can find me over on Entropy Emporium every other Tuesday for They Call Us Villains, where I play Little Doom Silatarn. She's done nothing wrong, and neither have her friends. Get that facts right. And then you could also catch me on Life from the Apocalypse every other Thursday in Redacted, JD's fun horror game where we're so full of ghosts on this island. Maybe we'll escape.
Find out in RP.
It's only been what, 2.5 days?
Correct.
Yeah, David Lynch is like 36 or something.
And I think what I'll do is I'm going to tag you and Rose, and then I will go last to round us off.
That's perfect. That's what I was going to recommend. So howdy guys, thanks for watching. My name is Rose. I use they, she pronouns. I've been your storyteller today. You can catch me on LFTA every other Tuesdays for our gritty near future space dystopian. There's a lot of adjectives. Sorry, Will. Sci-fi game. I play JoJo. She's a riot. You should come check it out. And I'll be doing other stuff in the future. Yeah, that's it.
Rose, I need you to understand that when you started and just said gritty, I had a very different thought in my mind.
Go Birds!
And I was like, wow, I didn't know gritty was an NPC.
Are you even a Philly fan?
Go Birds!
Nope. Still wrong.
Go Phillies! Go Philadelphia Union!
Nope.
Go Gritty.
Go gritty.
Go Gritty!
Or go home.
All right, I'm going to take us out, so I'm going to quickly go through the things that I have going on. I have a couple of them. Some of them might even be in the next few days. It's fine. I will be back here in 12 hours for class reunion, which is finally coming back, where I just play a little horse person who has never done anything wrong. I'm also not allowed to call them a horse person because Will says that's confusing. But it is not untrue. They have eaten hay on a handful of occasions. I will then be over with Wanderer's Haven in the afternoon for one of their games benefiting the ACLU, a Fabula Ultima game, and I'm going to be playing a little Chaos Gremlin who just likes explosives and has gotten into a whole team filled with non-binary queers, and it's going to be a good time. I will be back here on Sunday to run that aforementioned 8-table game. And then I have a couple of other things going on next week, but we're not going to go into all of those because I do way too many things and play in way too many games. What we are going to do right now is we're going to throw a raid over to Folk and Myth. They are participating in Streaming for Justice. They are currently running part of season 2 of this season of their vampire campaign. It does deal with some intense subject matter, so be mindful of that as you dive in, but we want to just go in, send them a little love, and acknowledge the fact that they are also here supporting a very, very good cause as we round out this fundraising goal, hopefully to hit that in the next couple of hours, if not by tomorrow. So with that, return to LFTA tomorrow morning for our Saturday morning cartoon class reunion. See what else you want to stop by for, because we will have some exciting things, and check out all of the cool projects that all of these amazing people are doing, because this was an amazing cast, and Rose, you told an incredible story. So thank you so much for that.
My absolute pleasure. Thank you guys. This has been so fun. Saludes. Goodbye, everybody.
Yes, say goodnight, everyone.
Buenas noches.
Good night, everyone.
Good night, everybody.
Night, everyone.